So Warcraft, based upon obviously World of Warcraft, but it's a story based upon the first game, which I had as a teen, the real-time strategy game. The film comes out soon. Early reviews are not good.
No, no. Battlefield Earth, like.
Well, that was the one over the top sort of criticism. Is from IndieWire, Warcraft is the Battlefield Earth of the 21st century. I think the comparison they're trying to make is that Battlefield Earth was based on a sci-fi novel by L. Ron Hubbard, who
it's a fucking joke.
Who created the cult of Scientology, and the people that really liked that movie were people that really liked L. Ron Hubbard or Scientologists. You had to really like the book to like that movie.
Sure.
Otherwise, you were lost and you're like, what the fuck is this? According to this review, that's what Warcraft is. Unless you really know the game and the characters and the lore, you're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Why am I watching this? This is too much for me. And so far, a lot of the reviews, at least on Rotten Tomatoes, that's what it's basically the tone of a lot of people. It's like, well, if you know like the little Easter eggs drop for you fans of the game, then you might get a lot more out of this than the average moviegoer who's just struggling to want to like these characters and follow what the hell's happening.
But even the pre-release review that I read said that they see that as unique in that instead of trying to bridge the gap, instead of bridging the gap between video games and movies, and even the one that I read said that they would struggle to find anything that would even make this interesting to the players of the game, because the story is insipid. They said basically the entire movie plays out like a highlights reel of a story they're expecting you to already know, but they don't even do it well enough for fans to give a shit.
This is what I'm thinking, because when you bought that Warcraft, the first one and the second one, you got a pretty good robust manual. I probably still have them somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And the first like 3-4 pages is the lore and story of the characters, and when I'm starting to see some of these names, it's starting to come back to me. Some of was it
Lothar?
Was it Lothar? King Lave, Doomhammer is one of the big evil orcs. You know, these are some of the guys you play in the game as like the hero characters, which had a lot more hit points and were more powerful. And this is the first story game. So this is when the orcs first come over from their dying land, and then the humans try to repel them. I was shocked. Before I get into the tomato meter score at some of the comments, I was shocked that a movie that's supposed to be grand and epic, with probably 3 or 4 main human characters, from the king, the main knight, you have the mage guy, and 3 or 4 orc characters, Doomhammer, you have the quote-unquote good orc character that's trying to be aligned with the humans, which I don't remember from the first story at all. They might have added that in after the first story, retcon that. And having the Paula Patton character, which everyone says is laughably bad makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Following all these characters for a movie that runtime is only an hour and 40 minutes.
Are you kidding? I missed that. Holy.
Unless Rotten Tomatoes is wrong.
No, probably not.
An hour and 40 fucking minutes for a movie that's supposed to have epic battles, setting up a proposed probably at least trilogy of movies based upon a fantasy world, is an hour and 40 minutes. And you're supposed to introduce all the worlds, the characters, have full character arcs for these 4, 5, 6 characters, and have battle sequence in an hour and 40? That's a tall order.
My buddy is currently in the process of trying to talk me into going to see it at that movie theater, just so we can get like hammered and watch it. But
the one that you can order beers.
Yeah. I don't want to be an advertising mouthpiece, but like that was a cool movie theater. I'm like, look, you pay the ticket. I'll go guzzle beer and waste an hour and 40 minutes. If it was 2.5 hours, no way. John, you don't listen to the podcast, but if for whatever reason you are, you pay the ticket. I'll go sit there for an hour and 40 minutes and drink. I mean, how bad could this be? See, unlike some other movies, these are characters that I don't care about. So it's just watching a shit movie on cable.
But I'm a guy who,
I know,
I had the original game, so like I said, it clicked. Like, okay, I remember that character. They might have changed the story from the original 1 or 2 games, but I'm at least okay. I could be a target audience for this. I could be.
Yeah, you could be.
But even I'm like, what the hell's going on? So this has a 4.1 out of 10 average score out of 50 reviews. So that's pretty much set. 18% positive reviews on the good old tomato meter. That's below Batman v Superman, to remind everyone, to bring it up again.
Woo!
And the top critics are all thrashing it. This is not Lord of the Rings. It's barely Dungeons and Dragons. Remember when that movie came out?
Oh my God! Yep.
From Time Out, like its 10-foot anti-heroes, Warcraft is noisy, lumbering, and not terribly bright. From Variety, the final product brings to mind those animated advertisements for iPhone app games.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, and here's the one from The Wrap. This is a totally independent review. Imagine Battlefield Earth without the verve or the unintentional comedy. That's 2 references to Battlefield Earth from 2 different...
And it doesn't even have unintentional comedy? Sorry, if John, I'm not going anymore if there's no unintentional comedy here.
The only positive top review so far from the Hollywood Reporter, dramatically and technically, Warcraft gives the concept of hybrid new punch. I'm not even sure what the hell that means, honestly. Now, I'm trying to stay neutral on this until I see it, but it's not looking good. I'm trying to look for like 2 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, 1.5 out of 5, 2 out of 5. Like, it's not a train wreck, but it's not good. So this is the danger, though. They want to make a world out of this. Probably do a movie based upon Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3.
It's apparently sets up with an incredibly like obvious cliffhanger for a sequel. Like, it supposedly doesn't even come close to closing the story.
I'm guessing the end could be the beginning of Tides of Darkness, the sequel, where you basically have spoilers. The humans lose in Warcraft 1.
Yeah.
So Warcraft 2 sets it up where the humans retreat and fall back and are now sided with the orcs and the elves and band together. And so the beginning of Warcraft 2 is literally the orcs sailing in with their armada to attack the alliance of humans, orcs, and elves. That's probably how this movie ends. It would make the most sense.
Sure.
You'd think something like that. You might not get there because this is probably not going to do that well. I know there's tons of WoW fans out there, but that's not going to move the needle entirely for getting enough ticket sales for what looks like a very expensive movie in order to go for a sequel. Then again, maybe Activision Blizzard will just pony up the money to keep it going and take the loss and do a tax write-off. I don't know. But it doesn't bode well, though, in general for video game movies if one of the biggest video games in the world doesn't have a stellar performance at the box office.
No.
This is a lot bigger than even freaking Assassin's Creed World of Warcraft.
Sure.
So if this doesn't do well and that doesn't do well, that might be it. You might never see your Halo movie or any other big franchise. You might never see it. It might be too big a risk, for better or for worse, unless the independent publishers or like Microsoft put money for a Halo movie. Maybe it would be possible.